Just imagine, while the whole world had accepted electric cars as the future, now the CEO of Toyota has made such a blast that has taken the entire auto industry by storm. He has clearly said, "We have made such a zero-emission combustion engine which will not only replace petrol and diesel, but will also shake up the entire EV industry." It is shocking to hear, isn't it? Till now, the world was considering EVs as the biggest solution for clean and green energy. But if this new engine of Toyota really becomes successful, then imagine what will happen to Tesla, BYD, and other EV companies. The question arises that what exactly is this technology? And how has such an engine been made that works without emitting smoke, and at the same time saves people from the tension of charging stations? Is this engine really the end of the EV revolution, or is it going to give an even bigger shock to the world? Believe me, this story is so interesting that if you miss it, then perhaps you will miss the biggest secret of the upcoming automobile history. And yes, by the end of this video, you will get the answer to all your questions. So before you move on to the video, subscribe to the channel so that you can be the first to see such amazing videos. Before talking about Toyota's new zero-emission combustion engine, let's take a look at Toyota's market, because without understanding where the company stands, we will not be able to know why it brought such a big technology. Toyota is one of the largest car companies in the world, and even last year it maintained its hold strongly all over the world. According to reports, in the year 2024, Toyota sold around 11 million vehicles, in which its hybrid vehicles played the biggest role. That is, while other companies were trying to shift completely to EVs, Toyota also paid full attention to hybrid and conventional engines. This is the reason why even today Toyota's vehicles are among the best-selling in the big markets of America, Japan, Europe, and Asia. Now, if we talk about electric cars, Toyota's role here is a little different. While companies like Tesla, BYD, Hyundai are working aggressively on EVs, Toyota has not shown that much speed in electric cars. Toyota's philosophy has been that the same solution cannot be right for every market in the world. Some countries lack charging infrastructure, some places have expensive electricity, and some places people are still not able to trust battery technology. In such a situation, Toyota focused on hybrid technology instead of EVs, and even today, its best-selling cars are hybrids, such as Toyota Prius, Corolla Hybrid, and RAV4 Hybrid. These vehicles make up a large part of the company's sales. This means that Toyota kept itself on a different track in the race of the entire EV industry, and this thinking has led it to a new engine today. So why is Toyota bringing a new engine? The biggest reason for this is the need of the customers and the reality of the world. EVs sound green and clean, but in reality there are many problems in it. Waiting for charging, long-distance problems, cost of battery replacement, and shortage of rare metals, all these challenges keep customers away. On the other hand, petrol-diesel engines are now on the verge of being banned due to pollution and climate change. In such a situation, Toyota engineers thought, why not make an engine that is exactly like the old engine? That is, one that can be refueled quickly, gives long range, and gives the same driving experience, but does not emit any smoke. With this thought, Toyota started research on zero-emission combustion engine. The real wonder of this engine is that it works like a traditional combustion engine, but uses clean fuel like hydrogen or synthetic fuel as fuel. It makes the car run smoothly, but does not emit smoke or carbon dioxide in the air. That is, in a way, it is a middle path between EV and combustion engine. There is no hassle of charging and no huge dependency on the battery, but the result is the same: zero emission. This move by Toyota clearly shows that it is not a company that flows with the flow of the EV industry. It chooses its own path, like it did with hybrid technology. When the whole world was running after EVs, Toyota said that hybrid is the true balance. And today the same has been proved true because millions of people around the world are still buying hybrid vehicles. Now with zero-emission engine, Toyota is repeating the same story again. That is, it is making its own new and unique path in the crowd of EVs. If we understand Toyota's strategy, it is clear that the company does not blindly trust any technology. EVs are in trend today, but Toyota knows that this is not the perfect solution for every country and every customer. Its effort is to make such engines that can be used globally, be it America, Japan, Europe, or countries like India. Because of this thinking, he has focused on this new engine. Concept of zero-emission combustion engine. The first question that comes to mind when we hear the concept of zero-emission combustion engine is how does it work? Because till now, whenever we talk about engines, the traditional petrol and diesel engines come to mind, which emit smoke and spread carbon dioxide and other gases in the atmosphere. But Toyota's new engine completely changes this thinking. Its name itself tells everything. Zero-emission combustion engine means an engine that runs on combustion technology, but no smoke, carbon, or pollution comes out of it. Now, let's talk about how this engine works. Actually, the foundation of combustion engine is very old. Power is generated by burning any fuel in it. Till now, petrol or diesel were used as that fuel, which give power after burning but also emit harmful gases. Toyota's idea is to change the fuel so that the same old technology, the same performance, the same driving experience is available but the pollution is reduced to zero. For this, Toyota is using clean fuels like hydrogen, ammonia, and synthetic fuel. First of all, let's understand hydrogen fuel. Hydrogen is a very light and clean energy gas. When it is burnt in the engine, it only turns into water vapor. That is, there is no trace of carbon in it, so the question of carbon dioxide formation does not arise. This means that the vehicle can run in a completely clean manner, and smoke will not come out. The biggest feature of hydrogen is that it is very powerful in energy density, that is, it can give great power even in a small amount. This is the reason why the performance of hydrogen combustion engine is not less than EV battery or petrol engine, but sometimes even more. Now let's come to ammonia. Ammonia, NH3, is another option that can be used as fuel. It also does not contain any carbon, meaning it does not release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide when burned. The specialty of ammonia is that it is easier to store and transport than hydrogen, because hydrogen has to be stored at extremely low temperatures. Ammonia can be easily handled as a liquid. However, there is a problem with ammonia. When it burns, a small amount of nitrogen oxide gases can be released, which are harmful. But companies like Toyota are developing new technology to neutralize these gases so that it can also be used as zero-emission. Next comes synthetic fuel. This fuel is actually made artificially, in which hydrogen is mixed with carbon dioxide to prepare a fuel that produces very little or zero pollution when burned. The special thing is that synthetic fuel can be easily used with the existing engine technology, which means there will be no need to completely redesign the vehicles. This is the reason why Porsche and some European companies are also doing research on this. Toyota believes that this is a way through which existing vehicles around the world can also be run on zero-emission fuel. The way a zero-emission combustion engine works is that instead of petrol and diesel, fuels like hydrogen, ammonia, or synthetic fuel are burnt in it. The basic mechanics of the engine remains the same. Combustion, i.e., generating power by burning, but the output changes completely. Smoke, carbon, pollution disappear, and only power and performance remain. This is where this technology competes with EVs. Because there is a problem of charging the battery in EVs. Lack of charging stations, charging time, battery being expensive, and its short life. All these are the problems that are still preventing EVs from becoming mainstream. But the way to refuel a zero-emission combustion engine will be just like the old times. You will refuel with hydrogen or synthetic fuel, and the car will start running again in a few minutes. That means no hassle of charging, no cost of battery replacement, and no dependence on rare earth metals. This concept of Toyota is also better for those countries where EV charging infrastructure is still far behind. Like India, Africa, and many countries of Southeast Asia, it is difficult to adopt EVs rapidly here. But if a zero-emission engine comes there, which can be run only on hydrogen or synthetic fuel, then it will be an easy and practical option for the people. Imagine, on one hand, Tesla, BYD, and other companies are betting everything on EVs, while Toyota is opening a completely new path with this engine. People are saying that if this engine becomes successful, then perhaps the real direction of the EV revolution will change. This is not just an engine, but can be the future of mobility in the coming times. Toyota's research and testing. Before understanding this zero-emission combustion engine of Toyota, it is important to know how much hard work the company has done on it and how many years of research is hidden behind it. Actually, Toyota did not start working on this concept suddenly. Rather, the company was doing research on it for almost a decade. When the wave of EV was gaining momentum across the world, Toyota engineers realized that EV is not the only solution for every country and every market. That is why they started using combustion engines running on hydrogen and synthetic fuel. In the initial phase, these engines were tested in some research labs in Japan and on the company's private track. Hydrogen engine first came into the testing phase between 2015 to 2016, when it was used in motorsports. Toyota tested the hydrogen engine by installing it in cars like Corolla Sport and Yaris, and the most surprising thing was that these cars gave the same performance as conventional engines, but no smoke came out of them. Not only this, cars with hydrogen engines were raced on big motorsports tracks like Suzuka and Fuji Speedway in Japan, so that it could be tested in real practical conditions. According to reports, these vehicles proved to be similar to petrol engines in terms of speed, power, and driving experience, and in some places, even better than that. This result was the biggest shock, because people thought that the hydrogen engine would be weak or would not give that much power, but Toyota broke this myth. Now, talking about the time of work on this project, Toyota has been researching the idea of hydrogen and zero-emission combustion engine for at least 10 to 12 years. Since 2010, the company had proved that hydrogen would be their focus by launching the hydrogen fuel cell car Mirai. It started from there, and gradually they moved beyond fuel cell and started working on combustion engine as well. The initial results were so surprising that today Toyota is preparing to bring this technology on a large scale. Now let's take a look at the EV battery industry, because this engine of Toyota can create the biggest crisis there. So far, the biggest requirement of EVs is batteries, and to make these batteries, rare metals like lithium, cobalt, and nickel are required. The supply of these metals is limited, and mining is required to extract them, which is a very expensive and polluting process. This is the reason why the price of EVs is still high, and battery replacement becomes a headache for the common man. If Toyota's zero-emission combustion engine becomes successful, then the first blow will be to this battery industry, because this will mean that now there will be no need for lithium and cobalt in such a large quantity. Neither will large battery packs have to be made, nor will there be the cost of replacing the battery every 7 to 8 years. This will directly affect the battery manufacturing companies, whose entire business is based on lithium-ion batteries. Just imagine, Companies like Tesla are investing billions of dollars in making batteries by setting up gigafactories. But if hydrogen and synthetic fuel engines are caught, then that investment will be worthless. Not only this, it will also be a warning bell for countries and companies mining lithium and cobalt. Today, lithium is called white gold because the increasing demand for EVs is pushing its prices sky high. But if tomorrow the need for EV batteries suddenly decreases, then the value of lithium can also fall, and the entire mining industry can be in trouble. Battery manufacturing companies are also scared at this time because the success of hydrogen or zero-emission combustion engines means that their technology will gradually become obsolete. If the biggest problem associated with EVs, charging time and battery dependency, is eliminated, then people will move towards a simpler and faster option. And this option can be zero-emission combustion engine. Toyota's initial results have made it clear that this engine is not just an experiment, but a real challenge for EVs. Its testing has proved that hydrogen and synthetic fuel engines are second to none in performance and range, but will give customers the same convenience they want today: quick refueling and long distance. At the same time, this is a nightmare for the EV battery industry because their billion-dollar business and the entire game based on the mining of rare metals can be in danger. Difference between EVs versus zero-emission engine. It is very important to understand the difference between EVs versus zero-emission combustion engine today, because this is where the real battle begins. Right now, electric vehicles are making a splash in the world. People consider them a clean and future-ready solution. But if you look a little carefully, there are some very big practical problems associated with EVs, which trouble the common man. The first problem is charging. After buying an EV vehicle, the driver always has to think about where the vehicle will be charged, how much time it will take, and whether charging stations will be available on the way or not. It is not possible to fill the tank in 2 minutes like a petrol or diesel car. Even today, it takes at least 30–40 minutes to fast charge an EV, while slow charging can take 6 to 8 hours. This is a headache for those who travel long distances. The second problem is the battery. The whole game of EVs is based on the battery, and this is also the biggest risk. The battery is expensive. Its lifetime is limited, and it has to be replaced after a few years, the cost of which can reach lakhs of rupees. Not only this, rare metals like lithium, cobalt, and nickel are needed to make the battery, whose supply is limited, and the prices are constantly increasing. Due to this, the prices of EVs are not able to come down. Also, the weight of the battery also reduces the efficiency of the vehicle, and the battery gets discharged quickly in cold areas. Now let's take a look at the infrastructure. To run EVs, a charging network is required across the country. But even today, this is far behind in most countries. It is difficult to find EV charging stations in small towns or on highways. In such a situation, EV is only suitable for those cities where electricity is cheap and charging points are easily available. But the reality is that this is not the case in a large part of the world. Now let's look at the zero-emission combustion engine. Its biggest strength is that it solves all these three problems. First of all, the tension of charging ends because it uses fuel like hydrogen or synthetic fuel instead of battery. This means that just like you go to a petrol pump and get your tank filled in 2 minutes, you can also get hydrogen or synthetic fuel filled and start your journey again in minutes. No 6 to 8 hour wait, no battery worries. The second advantage is no hassle of battery replacement. There is no battery pack in zero-emission combustion engine, so there is no cost of replacing or repairing it. This means the vehicle can run for a long time without any major replacement. Also, the dependency on rare metals ends, which means the demand for expensive metals like lithium, cobalt, and nickel will decrease. This will not only reduce costs, but will also reduce mining and its environmental damage across the world. Now let's talk about range and fueling time. The range of EVs is still limited. Most cheap EVs provide a journey of only 250 to 400 kilometers, while long-range EVs are very expensive. In contrast, cars with zero-emission combustion engine can easily travel 600 to 800 kilometers, and refueling takes only a few minutes. This means that they can prove to be more reliable than EVs in long journeys. Imagine, if a family is going on a long road trip, would they prefer to wait for 40 minutes for charging every few hundred kilometers? Or would they like to fill up hydrogen in 5 minutes and leave immediately? The answer is clear. Apart from this, zero-emission engines also differ from EVs in driving experience. The battery and motor of EVs are smooth, but they do not give the thrill that the sound of the engine and the feeling of its power give. Zero-emission combustion engine gives the fun of the same old engine, but without the smoke and pollution. That means the customer gets the best of both worlds, fun and clean energy. The biggest problems of EVs, charging time, battery cost and life, and charging infrastructure, are overcome by zero-emission combustion engine. While EVs still need many years and huge infrastructure to be adopted on a large scale, zero-emission engines can prove to be a practical solution today itself. Impact on auto industry. To understand how big the impact of Toyota's zero-emission combustion engine will be on the auto industry, we first have to see where the position of EV companies stands today. Companies like Tesla, BYD, and NIO are considered the heartbeat of the EV industry all over the world. Tesla has led the EV revolution in the US and Europe. BYD has emerged from China to become the largest EV player in the world. And companies like NIO are becoming increasingly popular in premium electric cars. These companies have invested billions of dollars in battery technology, charging infrastructure, and production. But now, if Toyota's zero-emission combustion engine becomes successful, then all these companies can come under a huge threat. Tesla will be the first to suffer. Tesla's entire business model is based on batteries and EVs. Elon Musk's gigafactories make millions of batteries every year, and this is the biggest USP of Tesla's vehicles. But if the zero-emission engine really comes into the market, then Tesla's battery-dependent technology will seem outdated. Imagine, while it takes half an hour to charge Tesla's cars, Toyota's zero-emission cars will be refueled and leave in just a few minutes. The customer always chooses the option that is easy and time-saving. In such a situation, Tesla may have to change its strategy, otherwise its market share may fall. Now, let's talk about BYD. BYD has strengthened its hold by providing the cheapest and mass-market EVs in the whole world. In China, it sells more cars than Tesla. But BYD's biggest focus is on battery technology. It has its own battery manufacturing units, and this is its strength. But if the zero-emission combustion engine comes and people start abandoning battery vehicles, then the biggest part of BYD's business will be in danger, especially in countries where charging infrastructure is weak, like India, Africa, and Southeast Asia. People will easily adopt zero-emission engines. This means that BYD's growth may also stop. This is also a warning bell for companies like NIO. NIO has made a mark in the market through its battery-swapping model. That is, the battery of its vehicles can be replaced in a few minutes. But if zero-emission engine comes, and the same work starts happening with hydrogen or synthetic fuel, then this unique selling point of NIO will become useless. In such a situation, there will be no special benefit of its technology. Now take a look at the future of the EV market. The EV market is still in its initial phase, and experts are saying that it will dominate the whole world in the coming 10-15 years. But if zero-emission combustion engine becomes truly successful, then this growth will slow down. Those who are going to buy EVs will probably wait and opt for zero-emission engine. This means that the demand for EVs can fall suddenly. This will also have a direct impact on battery companies and the mining industry. Today, the entire industry is dependent on the consumption of rare metals like lithium and cobalt to make batteries. But if zero-emission engines are adopted, the demand for these metals will decrease significantly. The result will be that the billions of dollars worth of battery companies' business can collapse. Its impact on the auto industry will be so huge that many companies will either try to adopt this technology or will gradually exit the market. Companies like Tesla and BYD will be forced to either work on hydrogen and synthetic fuel or make their EV technology so advanced that it can compete with zero-emission engines. But there is another aspect too. Zero-emission combustion engine means that customers with old combustion engines can also be easily shifted to this technology. This means that Toyota will be able to target not only new customers, but also old petrol-diesel users. This will further weaken the EV companies because shifting to EVs seems more expensive and hassle for the common man, while zero-emission engine gives them the same old driving experience, but without pollution. So it is clear that if this engine of Toyota becomes successful, then the whole picture of the EV market will change. For companies like Tesla, BYD, and NIO, this will not only be a technology challenge, but will be a threat to their entire business model. Governments around the world will also probably start supporting this technology because it will not cost heavily to build charging infrastructure. Zero-emission combustion engine can prove to be the biggest game-changer of the auto industry. It will not only slow down the growth of EVs, but will also shake the battery and mining industry. Its impact can be so deep in the coming 5–10 years that today's EV giants will either change their strategy or gradually be left behind. When we talk about zero-emission combustion engine, the first question that comes to mind is what benefit will the customer, that is, the common man, get from it? After all, the person buying the car will choose the technology that is easy, affordable, and reliable for him. Here, zero-emission engine is directly ahead of EVs. The biggest advantage is that there is no hassle of charging. EV owners always have to think about where the car will be charged, how much time will it take to charge, and whether there is a fear of getting stuck in the middle of a long journey. But by refueling hydrogen or synthetic fuel in zero-emission engine, the car will be ready in a few minutes. Exactly like we fill petrol and diesel today. This means that the customer does not have to stand in line for hours at the charging station or worry about the battery running out. The second big advantage is price and maintenance. Battery is the most expensive thing in EVs, and its life is limited. If the battery has to be replaced after a few years, then lakhs of rupees have to be spent. Zero-emission engines do not have this problem because they use clean fuel instead of a battery pack. This can also reduce the initial cost of the vehicle compared to an EV and reduce its maintenance cost in the long term. The third advantage is the driving experience. Many people are not happy with the smooth but silent experience of EVs. They want the feel of the engine. Zero-emission combustion engine gives the same sound, power, and response as the old combustion engine, but without the smoke and pollution. That means the customer gets the best of both worlds, the same old fun, and the new zero-emission technology. Now let's talk about global energy politics. Today, governments all over the world are promoting EVs. Billions of dollars are being spent on subsidies, tax benefits, and charging networks. Europe, America, and even China have made policies considering EVs as the future. But if zero-emission combustion engine really succeeds, then this entire policy can change. Because the real aim of governments is to reduce pollution, and if that can be achieved through hydrogen or synthetic fuel instead of EVs, then why not invest in that direction? Especially in those countries where it is difficult to build charging infrastructure, this engine can prove to be an easier option than EVs. This will also affect the politics of the auto industry. Today, countries that make batteries, like China, Australia, and Chile, are dominating the world because they have rare metals like lithium and cobalt. But if this engine comes, the demand for hydrogen and synthetic fuel will increase, and this will strengthen the Middle East and other energy-rich countries again. This can change the power balance of the world. Currently, billions of dollars are being invested in EVs, considering them the future. But if this new engine works, then governments will gradually start paying attention to it by reducing EV subsidies. Now, the question arises that what will be the picture of the future? Will EVs disappear in the coming 5 to 10 years? The reality is that EVs will not disappear completely, but their dominance can definitely break. EVs will run in places where charging infrastructure is easy and the use of batteries proves to be effective. On the other hand, zero-emission combustion engine will be adopted more rapidly in places where it is difficult to adopt EVs. That is, both technologies will run side by side, but the game of market share will change. Currently, EVs were considered the future of the world by 2030, but now it is clear that the picture will be completely different with the arrival of zero-emission engines. From the customer's point of view, people will always choose the technology that is easy, cheap, and hassle-free. If Toyota succeeds in launching this engine on a large scale, then the hype of EVs will gradually cool down and people will adopt zero-emission engines. At the same time, governments will also support this technology because it will not require building an expensive charging network like EVs. So this new zero-emission combustion engine from Toyota can really change the picture of the future. The question now is, will this engine really leave the EV industry behind, or will both technologies go hand in hand? Whatever the answer, it is certain that the world of automobiles will no longer be the same. If you found this video informative, then like the video, share it with your friends, and yes, before moving on, subscribe to the channel so that you can be the first to see such big and explosive news.